Hello, my name is Matt, and welcome to Cut Content. The Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta has been going on for a few days. In fact, they just extended it. And I wanted to give you a brief taste of what sort of the whole experience is like. So rather than doing a normal gameplay video, what I've done is I've just recorded about an hour and 20 minutes of everything, basically. Gave it to my girlfriend Eve, and she has cut it into a compilation of things that will hopefully make me look extremely good at this game. Although she did tell me that was not entirely the case, so we'll see. I'm just going to do some narration over it. I'm watching this for the first time. We'll all experience it together. So what you're seeing right now is the feed map. It's the only Galactic Assault map that they have available. Right now I'm playing as the Assault class, which is sort of your bog standard clone trooper using the DC-17 blaster. And this map is not good. It's cool the first few times you play it, but frankly it's a poorly designed map. I have much higher expectations of the other maps, but after a few times, I mean, the first section is just this huge, long, open area. This is the officer class, by the way. Nigh impossible to do anything productive with. The blaster pistol is just not good. But the first section of this map is a long, sort of open area where you have to fight on the sides, and it's all kind of linear. And then the second portion is just everything is crammed into these tiny quarters. It becomes a huge thing with grenade spam. That is the MTT blowing open the door, and that never gets old. Freaking awesome. So right now the clones have to sort of prevent the droids from gaining access to these two rooms, and if they gain access to those two rooms, then they might gain access to a third room. And if they gain access to that third room, then there are going to be problems. Now, here they have got cross-era heroes. Don't know how that's going to work out in game. I'm playing as Rey, who is good but not invincible. So I kind of did something a bit reckless. Just go out, try and ease pressure up on people. Did not work out great, but props for trying, and thank you, Eve, for including that. It's important to have. Oh, geez, there's Darth Maul. Oh, Eve told me about this. She said she was just going to include a compilation of all the. Yep, there I go again. Alright, well, that hardly seemed. Oh, Jesus. How many times did this guy kill me? It's too many. And, well, she told me she would show every one of them. I didn't realize it would be quite this soon or this, grim, but. And oh, good. There's. All right. Okay. That was pretty funny. Gotta give her credit for that one. Also gotta give myself credit for frickin' winning that game basically single-handedly, as you saw by all my confrontations with Darth Maul. You may also notice when I was playing as Rey, I have the Episode 8 skin for her. Oh, right. So yeah, when you start, the two armies are facing each other across the way. And usually you just shoot at each other. There are a bunch of civilians fleeing in the middle. But the first time I played as the droids, I saw those clones, and I admit my first instinct was to attempt to execute all of them. In my defense, that was everybody else's first instinct as well, who I have spoken to who has played this beta. So not just me. I'm not some sort of sociopathic. I mean, it's a droid, but still. No problems. Although I have noticed people start to use those clones as cover for the initial fusillade. Man, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because suddenly I got very concerned that I wasn't. But they are invincible. As you saw, I could not execute them. This map, it's real advantageous to play as the specialist class, which is the sniper class, if you're a droid as opposed to a clone, because you blend in pretty well. Now, unfortunately, the map is not totally balanced. It's once people start to realize how to play the objective, it became very difficult for the droids to win essentially ever. So this is an arcade match. It's a single player mode, but not a single player mission, because the missions will be part of a larger campaign. This is more just. Well, it's called arcade for a reason. I think that conveys it pretty well. But it also gives you a chance to try out some of the controls. Here I'm playing as Darth Maul. Darth Maul, by the way, cannot block blaster bolts. Very not well communicated, but totally makes sense. Oh, God, that's freaking cool. But totally makes sense after you play, because he's a wrecking ball. And his abilities are way more focused on straight-up damage than someone like Rey's. And if he could block blaster bolts, it would be frankly overpowered. He's already just so strong. And incredibly satisfying to play. There's some great video of Sam Witwer, the voice actor for Darth Maul in the Clone Wars TV show, of him playing his character in this game for the first time. It's pretty fantastic. But soon after that, we're switched to Starfighter Assault, which is leagues better than it was in the first game that came out back in 2015. For one thing, space! That's new! For another thing, scale is just incredible. Like, you're flying alongside a Star Destroyer, these very real feeling sort of docking bays. There's turrets just like there were in Battlefront 2 from 2005. 3 different types of ships. You got your fighters, interceptors, and bombers, keeping the class system going strong, which is, for my money, probably they've made a lot of very solid design decisions, and one terrible one that we'll get to later. But for my money, the class system is probably the best. I don't really count multiple errors as being a design decision. I guess it technically is, but to me that's like larger scale content, not moment-to-moment gameplay. But having this sort of delineation, aside from making it much clearer sort of how to play your role and making it easier to get these things called battle points, which you trade in for hero ships or heroes on a ground battle, it's just more fun. It's reminiscent of the Battlefront 2 that everybody loved back in 2005. Here you can see, like, we're going through, it's not the trench run, but it's like a type of trench run, and you're weaving through the insides of the station and then bursting out into open air, or in my case, bursting it into flames because I got blown up real good. But that's my point. It feels epic, which was not something the first game struggled with, to be fair, but it's just exceeded by leaps and bounds in what's going on here. Especially just the use of abilities that are unique to classes, as opposed to just kind of general things that everybody could equip whatever of, and there's a lot. I guess the way I would describe this game is focused, in a way that its predecessor just was not at all. Whereas Battlefront from 2015 was more of a casual arcadey game, and it had some huge flaws, and I still played it a lot because I thought the core gameplay was really fun, and come on, man, it's Star Wars. I know that's a terrible reason, but I'm only human, and you should respect that, and respect me, and don't judge me too harshly. I also broke one of my own rules and pre-ordered this particular game, and okay, you know what, screw it, I'll talk about it now. Here's why that might be a problem. When they first announced this game, everything was hunky-dory. It seemed like they had listened to every single complaint that people had had about the last game. Oh man, I thought I was going to crash there. I've played this game a lot. I don't know exactly what I'm watching right now. And for me, the fact that they were including a full single-player canon story, multiple eras, expanded heroes, weapons, a class system, that was enough for them to earn my faith. And I was like, you know what? I know it's EA. There's some shady shit that goes on there, but Titanfall 2 was a great game. There's a Millennium Falcon. I hate the Millennium Falcon in this game. Although, to be honest, I'm not crazy about it in real life either. I know people love it. It's just, the design doesn't sit. I mean, it's fine. It's just not for me. Oh, thank you, E, for showing that. Okay, well, the embarrassing thing is I couldn't even do damage to that coupling because it was on the wrong team. But now I'm playing a Slave 1 freaking Boba Fett ship. But getting back to EA and things they've done, Titanfall 2 was well received. I haven't played the single player, I've played the multiplayer, it was pretty fun, not broken by microtransactions, and that's where things get complicated here. So, you don't level up classes by playing the classes. Seismic Grenade? Mine? I think it was a Seismic Mine, doesn't matter. Anyway, it's blue from episode 2, and it's cool. You level up classes by getting star cards that are better. I crashed. Oh, and there's the game. By getting star cards, which, you know, are supposed to be upgrades to. Oh, right, that is gorgeous. To abilities or side grades in some cases, but they also have ranks from like. I don't even think I think bronze is the lowest, and it goes up to like platinum or something. which affects how good they are. And you only get them through these drops from loot crates, which you get at times. I'm not totally sure when or how you actually get them. I know I've gotten them in the beta for completing challenges, but who know what will transfer over to the full game. Or you could pay real money. And here we have a major problem, because the progression system of the classes, the levels, is totally locked behind a system that can only be accessed through either arbitrary means or real-world currency, which is messed up. I mean, it just is. You can't play the game to get better unlocks. If you can, they certainly have not been demonstrating that in the beta at all. What I do know is, the first crate I opened, you got one like for free when you started the beta, gave me a level 3 out of 4 trooper card that changed one of my abilities, and it was insane. I had a legitimate advantage over people because I opened a random card that had nothing to do with the amount of time that I've spent actually playing this game. And if you're going to include loot crates that can do that, they sure as hell should not have anything to do with paid currency. It should be 100% you earn them through gameplay. The only game that I think has ever done loot crates well is Rainbow Six Siege, because Rainbow Six Siege introduced loot crates and you literally cannot buy them. There is no physical way to obtain them. You just have to play the game, which is what progression should be. It should be based on playing, enjoying, having, don't make the game worse for the sake of getting more currency. And to be clear, I don't think the developers of this game ever intended something like that to happen. But it's not the developers, it's the publisher, in this case EA, that is further promoting this idea of games as a service, which is deeply problematic. There's been a lot of pushback over Shadow of War's crates. Apparently they're not that big a deal based on early reviews, but the idea of loot crates in a single-player game, what the hell? And in a game that's so clearly designed to have its longevity, you don't have to show every time I crash, Eve, but I guess you probably did. Alright, fair enough. To have its longevity, because in the multiplayer, the single player, it sounds awesome, people have been excited about it, I'm excited about it, but, let's be real here, the multiplayer is what is going to keep this game going throughout the years. And to have that system sort of sullied and compromised by the idea that you have to pay money, or that you could pay money to just be straight up better than other people, that's not okay. And none of us should be tolerating that. Unfortunately, the way I pre-ordered the game, in my almost naive faith, there is no way to get a refund. And the strange thing about that is that I, in terms of the game, do not want one. I've had such a good time playing this beta, I cannot wait to play the full game, but it's such a predatory business practice that I feel deeply uncomfortable supporting it. And before I get the comments about how I shouldn't have pre-ordered, I know. Look, I took a chance, I did a dumb thing, and sometimes pre-ordering is nice, just in the sense of, oh look, I have the money in Falcon and we lose. It's like giving a gift to yourself in the future. But I inadvertently supported something that I'm not happy about, which bums me out. But enough about, let's focus, we should focus on the game. There are people who discuss this in much more detail and much more eloquently than I have. Starfighter Assault, awesome game mode. I think you got to see both sides there, and what I think was a pretty good example of sort of the classic feel of the game. Now we move on to the least balanced game mode, which is, I believe it's called Strike, and it's 8v8. This one takes place in the sequel era, so you got First Order and Resistance. Super fun, super cool, completely unbalanced, nearly impossible for the First Order to win. The way that the objectives are set up are just ridiculously unfair. So hopefully that gets nerfed a bit. And also, it doesn't help that they've not only got the harder thing to do, but they stick out like a sore thumb in the middle of Takodana. But also, you are playing on frickin' Takodana from Episode 7. Maz's castle is right there in the background. It's mind-blowing. It's what you wanted from the first... The first game came out in, I believe, November of 2015. About a month and a half before Episode 7. And Episode 7 came out, and some people really don't like it. I don't understand you people. I'm just gonna say that. The one criticism I had was that it followed the story of Episode 4 too closely, but it was an amazing movie, and there are no words to describe the sheer... Well, okay, there's one word. It was a bummer. It was a bummer to realize that Battlefront wasn't going to include some of the awesome stuff we just saw, or any of the cool things that were in the Clone Wars television show. And now... you're getting to experience that. The hype for Episode 8 is building. There was a hell of... The second trailer released last night. Hell of a trailer. My personal belief is that it's almost entirely misdirection, but really cool. Makes me very, very excited, even more than I already was. And so getting to experience that conflict between the First Order and Resistance is pretty fantastic. As you've noticed, you can switch between first and third person. Right now, I believe I'm playing as the Heavy class, which some people say is overpowered. I say just feels amazing. I don't think it's OP, I just think it's great. One of the special abilities is that awesome rotary blaster, which just feels so good, but I love the First Order's Assault, the bog standard normal class, because they're, for the original trilogy era, it's called the E11. I want to say it's the E13 now or something, whatever. Their primary blaster feels incredible. And it's just so much fun to use. And that's what I'm looking forward to, and part about the full game is I can't wait to see what all the different weapons are. There are only 2 options for each class. In this, well, there's standard option for each faction for each era, and then one that's cross-era for every class. And they're cool, but I really want to see what else they've got, basically. And the classes feel unique enough that I think having different weapons will not only differentiate players, but also make the classes feel completely different to play. Already, we can see that the star card system is not always an upgrade, sometimes more of a side grade, because it can completely replace abilities. And as much as I dislike the system, that is pretty cool. So, obviously you can see the game is gorgeous. I can confirm that it's a whole lot of fun. Hopefully they learn from the pushback from this beta that the way they're doing progression is not at all okay. But, by and large, I mean, this is the best Star Wars game we've had in a long time, and that in and of itself is something to be excited about. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again soon for the month of Spooks.